I've been reading for a couple of months about how satisfied progressives are with Joe Biden and his administration, and nobody called me. So I've always been a little bit weirded out by those headlines, but I think that we're past it. I think that those headlines are gonna go away. There is ever brewing frustration, and that came to a head today, actually, in the form of a protest where some 60 protesters from the Sunrise Movement actually went to the White House, and I think we actually have a little bit of video, so why don't we go to that? You can see what it looked like.
And to do something historic. We have a governing majority that we haven't had in over a decade, and we don't know when we'll have it again. So it seems like we should be doing something right now, doesn't it? I feel like we should probably be doing something. But what is the White House doing? The White House is negotiating with the party of the same climate arsonists that I saw in Florida. As if things could be different this time.
Okay, so you have this group of young activists that apparently don't understand that the filibuster is very important for generating comedy and bipartisanship. But anyway, we have a little bit more from Varsity Prakash, the executive director of Sunrise, who said, "I was invited to the Biden-Sanders Unity Task Force to help Biden craft policy that was in line with what is necessary to meet the crises facing our nation. Biden moved towards us, promising us a future, and in exchange, we worked tirelessly to get him elected. We held up our side of the deal, but now that Biden is in power, that promise of co-governance with progressives and young people has disappeared. The president has spent more of his time meeting with a Republican Party who to this day contests he is the democratically elected president. It's time to meet with us, the young organizers that elected him instead. This moment demands an infrastructure package that will stop climate change and create millions of good jobs in the process, and we won't stop until he delivers." And of course, this comes within a day of us learning that he's chopped another gigantic, Biden I'm saying, has chopped another something like $700 billion from his infrastructure plan. It is now down a full trillion from the 2.3 that he initially proposed. Erin, what do you make of all this?
Well, I gotta say, I kind of enjoyed the few months where I was like, oh, is this what the Biden administration is gonna be? It was kind of a nice break. But this is actually more of what I expected when Biden was first elected, was that he would be kind of nudging toward the center, and that progressives' job would be to try to push him back left, since they're the ones that he has to thank for his victory, not centrists. I do wanna say that if I'm trying to give this a good faith read, and I'm gonna start out by doing that, I'm gonna say that maybe what Biden wants is for people to see that Republican policy proposals aren't actually things that people really want. I think that maybe calling them on, you have a counteroffer, show us what it is, let's let the American people reject it, and then we can do what we wanted to do anyway. That is my hope for what he's doing. My fear for what he's doing is that he's capitulating and we're going to go back into this cycle of kind of mealy-mouthed Democratic nothingness. I hope it's the former, I fear it's the latter, and I'm just gonna wait and see for the sake of my own sanity.
Yeah, Ben?
I think people are trying to figure out, shout out to the Sunrise Movement. They really do a lot of amazing work. So just want to tip my hat to them for that. But I think people are ultimately trying to find out, Democrats, are you dealing with us in good faith or are you gaslighting us? Because if you're dealing with us in good faith, then we think that you're kind of being naive with how you're approaching the Republican Party, but even your own people like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. And I think that is reflective of what's going on with the Democrats arguing with themselves, negotiating with themselves, taking their price down, hoping that the Republican Party would come over to their side. So they're like preemptively negotiating with themselves. It's either they are extremely naive or they're equally complicit and maleficent in that they are malevolent rather, in that they're playing a game with us. And I think Sunrise Movement is in that clip. They're really trying to see, Joe Biden, what are you doing? Are you playing a game with us, or are you just kind of naive in terms of what we're dealing with right now? Because Republicans are playing for keep, and we need to fight back accordingly.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a few Democratic senators that are playing games with us, and that I mean that I would love to imagine that we live in a world where they are just as stupid as they seem to be, but they're clearly lying about their strategy, clearly lying about the filibuster. I'm sure they're plenty dumb, but they're not that dumb to actually believe the things that they're telling us. Really fast though, since a lot of this has to do with infrastructure, the frustration is the negotiations over the infrastructure. I do want to ask both of you a quick question, which is, he started off with 2.3 trillion, which a lot of people greeted as, well, that's not big enough. I mean, even Joe Manchin said he wanted 4 trillion initially, although he never would have supported the tax increases that would have paid for it. But started with 2.3 trillion. Last month, he dropped it down $300 billion. He's just cut it down to like a little bit more than $1 trillion now. In the meantime, the counter proposal from the Republicans, which he is rapidly about to pass in terms of funding, they've added 100 billion. I know that sometimes I might get into a bit of a bubble. I want your honest opinion. Hypothetically, were he to set fire to his own proposal and literally just take theirs and put it up for a vote, would they support it?
No.
No, we would get Obamacare again. We would get we would get public optioned again. This is, most people who care about politics right now are old enough to remember when that happened. We can't negotiate with them because they don't want to pass anything that Joe Biden has his name on, that Joe Biden could put his stamp on. Mitch McConnell has said it himself. No matter what Democrats try to do, Republicans will oppose it, even if it is Republican ideas. And to pretend otherwise is exhausting. I don't have the energy anymore. It's been a hard year.
It's been a tremendously hard year. And I love the way you phrase that, is we would get Obamacare again. We would get essentially where they would oppose their own idea. As soon as Joe Biden latches on to this, they're going to start opposing it. They'll find a way to oppose their own idea, their own legislation, just like Obamacare, which was a piece of legislation that came out of the Heritage Foundation that was first put into test by a Republican governor, Governor Mitt Romney in Massachusetts. He put it into effect and tested it. And so as soon as Barack Obama said, okay, I'm going to give up on a universal healthcare system and I'm going to embrace, this Republican conservative idea called Obamacare, they turned around and opposed you anyway.
Yeah.
So we might as well have fought for Medicare for all.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.